Okay, so let's just get settled into a nice, comfortable seated posture. I want to make sure the sound is okay. William? But yeah, I mean, I'm not saying that I'm capable, but we've all got to start somewhere, and I started somewhere. So it's just that I'd best repeat myself night after night after night, so I got practiced at it, do you know? So if you repeat yourself night after night after night for 5 years, you'll get practiced at it too. And if you don't, there's kind of something wrong. But yeah, I know. All right, so let's just settle into a nice, comfortable seated posture. It's very nice to see you all. We're moving into the weekend. All right, so feel the sensation of both your feet on the floor. It's a really good place to start. Otherwise, maybe you're sitting cross-legged. I'm just going to put this cushion behind me. I'm sitting cross-legged on Judith's couch. But so then I can feel my feet underneath my legs. And then I feel my sits bones on the cushion. You can also tuck the cushion underneath your coccyx. Shoulders are aligned with the hips, and your ears are aligned with the shoulders. And imagine your spine is a beautiful string of pearls of light stretching from the base all the way up through the crown of the head and beyond. And just lengthen your spine. And then now just relax your scalp and the forehead and your eyes, your face, your neck, your throat, your body, your arms, your hands, fingers, toes, legs. So just release any tension in the body. Bring your attention now to the breath sensations as you inhale and exhale. And then be aware of sound in your environment, just allowing all of the sounds to be there, trying not to follow them with the mind. So just be aware of that. And then as we're going kind of from the external to the internal, become aware of your own mind and what might be going on in there. Trying to put some space in between the thoughts, maybe. And try not to follow, every single little thought. Getting caught up with all the emotion and the feeling and all of that. Sometimes we could be like 20 minutes into an internal conversation and some kind of pseudo documentary that we might be creating in our mind before we realize, oh, wait, I've probably gone too far here. Let's get back to reality. So just keep an eye on what your mind is doing and then just very gently bring it back to the breath without any kind of judgment. Just be objective. And you'll notice the more aware that you become of what's going on in your mind, the faster you'll be able to notice when you've kind of gone off into a little trip somewhere. So just come back. And then just, again, take notice of our friends, our enemies, our strangers, remembering they're all equal. They don't want to suffer. They want to be happy. And all of us have this capacity for a Buddha mind. So everyone's equal in that aspect. So I think we'll do this meditation this evening for all these people of our life and by extension, all the sentient beings. And, every now and then I reflect on all the people who've passed through this group. And we've got people doing this practice online. I remember Kenny, he sent me his mantras again today. How many has he done? I'll just let you guys know, because he's in Europe, so this time is difficult for him. And this month he has done, he didn't say how many mantras he's done. Oh, 868 mantras he's done this month. That's from Kenny. So he's part of this group as well. So then I also reflect, every so often, and all the people that have come through who've passed away. So as Lama Rinpoche used to say to us every time we had one of these, group retreats, he would go like, which one of you is not going to be here next year? And we'd all look around and go, well, it's probably not going to be me. And then sure enough, someone would be missing. So sincerely regret from the depths of your heart anything you have done to harm any living being on this day, in this life, and in all of our past lives. And think of specific actions of both your body and your speech, and then in general regret all. And the reason to regret is based on this logic of karma. And we experience everything due to our past karma, our past actions, and having harmed others, we ourselves will necessarily experience suffering in the future. And we cannot bear the thought of any future suffering that we will experience. And we know from our present suffering, we don't want any more. So logically, it makes sense to remove the karmic seeds before they ripen as suffering for us. So we think like this: I regret from the depths of my heart having harmed others with my body and my speech, having broken my vows, because I do not want the future suffering. I'm sick of suffering. And also regret any anger, attachment, and the rest that are the cause of why we harm others. And then think again, I'm sick of this suffering. And then think, well, what can I do about it? Whom can I turn to? So here we come to the power of reliance, and we turn to the Buddha, who we see as a doctor, who has these methods that we can use to purify. And we're not needing Buddha Vajrasattva to forgive us. We're wanting his methods, his medicine. So you imagine this beautiful white Buddha above the crown of your head. You can also imagine this is the mind of your teacher manifesting in this form for your benefit. So he's smiling, he's looking at you very lovingly, and he has his hands crossed in this traditional way of the left hand closest to the heart and the right arm across, and the left is holding the bell representing wisdom, the right holds the Vajra or Dorje representing indestructible compassion. And they're crossed like that symbolizes enlightenment. To the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, I go for refuge until I'm enlightened. By this practice of meditating on Guru Vajrasattva, may I reach Buddhahood so as to benefit all sentient beings. So then, in order to develop compassion, we need to rely upon other beings, the very beings we've harmed, and those who have harmed us, by developing compassion for them. So think particularly of people you've harmed recently and in the past, and then in general, all beings we have ever harmed since beginningless time. And then think about those who have harmed you, and particularly have compassion for them, because the harm they've caused you is going to result as suffering for them sometime in the future. So then we come to the power of remedy, and this is where we do the actual practice. We take the medicine. So we start with the body, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful white nectar, like coming out of a hose, quite forcefully from his heart, and it arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. And then it just kind of keeps coming and coming, and it pours out of your lower orifices all the negativity of your body as kind of thick, black, kind of inky liquid. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drita mebawal situkaya mebawal sipokaya mebawal Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe ambhadra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe ambhadra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Ambhadra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Ambhadra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Ambhadra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe ambhadra safa samaya manupalaya vajra safa dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hum pe. So then be delighted that all the harm you've ever done to any sentient being with your body is now completely purified. And think that there's no way you could do anything other than benefit others now with your body. And the next is the purification of our speech. And again, Vajrasattva very happily sends powerful nectar from his heart chakra, and it arcs around and quite forcefully enters your crown and fills your entire body, except this time forcing up to the top of your body all the negativity of your speech, and this overflows and disappears into space, not one atom left. So you imagine all the gossip and the harsh speech and useless speech and lying and talking about people behind their backs and getting other people to agree with you, all of this is purified by this powerful nectar filling you as we recite the mantra again. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Jida me boa situkaya me boa sipokaya me boa Anarakta me boa sawa sidi mimpi yatsa sawa kama sita me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajra mame mutta vajra bawa mahasamaya sattva a hom pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya vajrasattva dina patita Drida meboa, Situkai meboa, Sipokai meboa, Anorakta meboa, Savasidi Mimpiata Sawa Kamasita me, Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha Ho Bhagawan, Sawa Tata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Setva A Hum Pe. Ambhadrasafa Samaya Manupalaya Bhadrasafa Dina Patita, Drida meboa, Situkai meboa, Sipokai meboa, Anarakta meboa sabasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sitam me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya septa a hum pe ambhadrasafa samaya manupalaya vajrasafa dina patita Drida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa anarakta meboa sabasidi mimpi yatta sawa kama sitam me sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya septa a hum te. So now feel so happy that your speech is completely purified, and imagine it's not possible to do anything other than benefit others now with your speech. And next is the purification of our mind, and Vajrasattva very compassionately sends powerful beams of light from his heart chakra, and this arcs around and enters your crown and fills your entire being. So you imagine, you've walked into a room, you flick on a switch, it's dark, and then the light comes in instant, dispelling the darkness. So it's the same here. The moment the light from Vajrasattva's heart hits your heart chakra, all the darkness of the negativity of your mind, all your attachment, neediness, bitterness, grudges, depression, anxiety, disappointments, all of this instantly dispelled, not one atom left as we recite the mantra. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drida meboa Sutokaya meboa Sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa Savasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya septa a hum pe Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dina patita Drida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Savasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya setva a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Drida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Savasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya septa a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Drida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Savasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya septa a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Drida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Savasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya septa a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Drida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Savasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya septa a hum pe. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya, Vajrasattva dina patita, Drida meboa, Situkaya meboa, Sipokaya meboa, Anorakta meboa, Savasidi mimpiyatsa sawa kamasita me, Sitam shriyam kuru hum ha 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 ho bhagawan, Sawa tata gata vajramami mutta vajrabawa mahasamaya septa a hum pe. So again, be delighted that all your delusions, which are the source of all of our own suffering and the cause of why we harm others with our body and our speech, are completely purified. And then think that there is no space in your heart now for anything other than love and kindness and forgiveness and wisdom and bliss and compassion. And next is the purification of the imprints of negativity of the body, speech, and mind. And so you can imagine that Vajrasattva sends light and nectar this time. And the nectar flows down, pushing all the negativity of the body out from the bottom, the lower orifices, and the nectar flowing up, pushing out all the negativity of the speech through the upper orifices. And then the light coming and blasting all the delusions. So this is all happening at the same time. And so that this way it eradicates even the kind of the subtlest imprints of negative energy from your mind. Vajrasattva samaya manupalaya Vajrasattva dinapatita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyatsa sawakama sitame Sitam Shriyam Guru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anarakta meboa sawasidi mempiyatsa sawakama sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mempiyatsa sawakama sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mempiyatsa sawakama sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mempiyatsa sawakama sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mempiyatsa sawakama sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe Vajrasattva Samaya Manupalaya Vajrasattva Dinapatita Jida meboa situkaya meboa sipokaya meboa Anorakta meboa sawasidi mempiyatsa sawakama sitame Sitam Shriyam Kuru Hum Ha 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 Ho Bhagawan Sawatata Gata Vajramami Mutta Vajrabawa Mahasamaya Sattva Ahom Pe. So now feel you're completely purified. There's not one atom of negativity left in your mind stream. Even the subtlest obscurations to your enlightenment have been removed. And now we come to the power of resolve. And this is the fourth and final step in the purification process. And it's really crucial. This is this determination to refrain from harming with our body and our speech and our mind. And without this determination, without making a decision like this, we're just going to keep repeating ourselves, repeating our habits. So, it kind of becomes like this determination becomes like a beacon that guides our body and our speech and our mind in new directions, more positive directions. So rejoice in your efforts for coming along. Think about something you'd like to work on between now and Monday. Or maybe some of you do this practice over the weekend, even if it's just a few mantras, just kind of go through that process that we go through in this meditation. And then just think of something you'd like to work on. And Vajrasattva is delighted with us and wants to merge with your mind and melts into white light and absorbs into you through the crown and think, my teacher's body, speech, and mind, Vajrasattva's body, speech, and mind, and my own body, speech, and mind are the same. And so next, Rinpoche would recommend to meditate on emptiness. So we'd say in emptiness, there is no I, the creator of negative karma. There is no action of creating negative karma. and there is no negative karma created. So at whatever level you understand emptiness, place your mind there for a little while. We can think of all phenomena as being empty. They do not exist from their own side. We can also think that the way things appear to me may not necessarily be the way they actually exist. So let's just dedicate all the merit, all the positive energy you've created doing this practice to all living beings and think, may all the virtuous karma I have created from doing this practice ripen as my enlightenment for the sake of sentient beings as quickly as possible. So let's just do chanting the names of Manjushri. We must be almost at the end. Oh, we are. Okay. And so the aims of helpless mundane beings who seek the fruits of perfect liberation, just this taught in the Mahayana, is the noble path that leads to excellence. With largeness, vastness, and profundity, with meaning great, achieving beings' aims, just this comprises every Buddha's sphere. Just this is taught by all awakened ones. That's it. So we'll start back on number 1. Okay. We're up past time now. So let's start with that on Monday. We'll start with verse 1 on Monday. All right, everybody. Let's have a strong wish for His Holiness the Dalai Lama to live long, for the swift return of our precious Lama Zopa Rinpoche, and for all of your own individual teachers to live long. Okay, everybody. Lots of love. Thank you so much for hosting.